Alright, it is 9:30 at night, and we are just now walking into the stadium. Hell of an experience here.
Yup. This game started at 10:30 at night. Severe weather warnings in the area aside, the atmosphere was great once the game started. So much so that even as everyone was leaving the stadium at 1:30 in the morning local time after a fun, tight, minimally long game, there was still electricity in the building from all the fans who were just there to support their teams and have a good time. And me, as an impartial observer who was just happy to be there watching some good old-fashioned baseball in Omaha, Nebraska. I love the College World Series. I've given it props on this channel before, and totally do it again. Last year, we put out a video about how we just saw the most exciting College World Series yet. I'm happy to report that just 1 year later, in the big 2024, we have now seen the craziest one yet. This was a wacky week and change of baseball, with plenty of fun twists and turns that if you saw them or not, you'll get as good a summary here as possible. We gotta zoom through everything that went down here. It's time to relive a baseball tournament that had to be seen to be believed. Let's establish this real quick so the tournament doesn't get confusing for first-timers. In the College World Series, there are 8 teams in total. They get divided into 2 mini brackets of 4 that play a double elimination setup, meaning a team has to lose twice to be eliminated. The 2 teams left standing play a best 2 out of 3 series, and the winner of that gets the crown. So this is the kind of tournament a fun team that comes from nowhere can win. Fresno State won the whole thing in 2008, which you will never see in the tournament for another sport, especially nowadays in the NIL money era. But what's crazy, in my opinion in a bad way, is who the 8 competitors were in this year's tournament. Florida, Florida State, Kentucky, North Carolina, NC State, Tennessee, Texas A&M, and Virginia. Knowledgeable college sports fans may have noticed, those are only teams from the SEC and ACC conferences. There's no cool Cinderella candidates, there's not even a team on the West Coast. It's just big schools with the biggest NIL access and recruiting advantages. I personally hate that, but they did give us some incredible baseball, and they did it right from the very first game.
Charles Schwakoff Stadium.
Vance Honeycutt is really good at baseball. You will totally see him as a top prospect in pro baseball very soon. But before we know what team is going to be fortunate enough to draft him, he's having a really clutch College World Series for himself. It's very exciting that the first game of the tournament ends in a walk-off. You don't see that every day. Speaking of things you don't see every day...
Cycle for Christian Moore! The second in Men's College World Series history.
Christian Moore is also a name you need to remember from this tournament. He has the most home runs in Tennessee baseball history, and he did it as a second baseman. I played second base a little in Little League, and my Baseball Savant page probably would have looked like this. So for the man they call SEMO to be one of the most dominant hitters in America at the same position is just absurd. Tennessee entered this tournament as the #1 team in the nation. Florida State's gonna try and knock them off in their first game back in Omaha in 5 years. 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2-run lead for FSU.
2-2. That did not go!
Oh, no. This is... God, that gets you access to this video if you don't win the game. Considering, by the rules of baseball, this is strike 3, and you did win the game, you know, by the rules of baseball.
Pitch. Back up the middle, base hit into center. Hemo scores. More behind him. We're tied.
A couple batters later, the unthinkable happened. Two games, 2 walk-offs, the definition of demoralizing if you're Florida State. Florida State dominated much of this game. Their lethal offense was legit, and technically speaking, they should have gotten 27 outs while still holding the lead. The call just didn't go their way, and Tennessee cashed in on their new opportunity. That's baseball. things like this happen. It's why we all love this weird, unfair, unpredictable game so much. The next day, we got Kentucky versus NC State. Huh. Where have I seen that celebration before? 9th inning, 3-3 game. NC State has a runner on third with 1 out.
First and third, first pitch, Butterworth, ball gets away, and NC State's got the lead.
Kentucky escapes with no further damage than this though, even if this is a really tough pill to swallow for how to go behind in a game. But they need some damage of their own to stay alive. Literally 2 pitches later,
Nicholson the other way, heading towards the line in the corner. We are tied!
we do head to extra innings though for the first time in the tournament, with a chance at history. We've never seen 3 walk-offs in the first 3 games of a College World Series. Ever. But in the words of the wise Livy Dunn,
the College World Series was crazy.
You probably figured out where this was going.
To deep left, back goes Nixon, looking up, Daly wins it! Daly wins it! Daly wins it! Kentucky defeats NC State 5-4 on a walk-off home run by Mitchell Daly!
3 games, 3 walk-offs. Unreal. So after this game ended, Florida and Texas A&M were set to play at 6 p.m. local time. I headed down to the ballpark, took in some scenery. Then at about 5 o'clock or so, I noticed something strange. They weren't letting anyone into the ballpark. An air of confusion went over the crowd, as a delay was announced for weather that wasn't here yet. We waited and waited and waited through the threat of severe weather. All bark, not exactly bite. Then we got the notification. At about 10:30 p.m., we were gonna get some baseball. 11:30 for the Florida fans back home. This was going to be an experience I'd never seen anything like. The crowd didn't care. They were still into it all the same, which I love so much.
Omaha after dark.
So, what happened in the game? 2 Texas A&M fans got kicked out of the game for getting down near the Florida dugout and, I'll just say classlessly chirping Florida's coach. A&M jumped out to an early lead. Things started to get late at this point though.
Well, we're headed to the 9th inning in Omaha. It's 1 o'clock in the morning.
Florida clawed back to make it a game, and almost stole the game away until Jace Laviolette robbed what would have been the go-ahead home run, and A&M held on to win. At 1:30 in the morning, we all left the stadium after just the minimum 17 half innings. Never seen anything like it. We did, however, enter a brief lull of total insanity being over in the tournament, because that wasn't going to last forever. Florida State came back out against Virginia and showed some really impressive fight after they got completely robbed against Tennessee. Off the back of 3 home runs, they jumped out to a huge lead before Virginia tried to mount a comeback. Unfortunately for them, and fans of anarchy we had experienced until this game, emphasis on tried. I returned to the ballpark later that day to see Tennessee play North Carolina. It was way too loud to record myself talking, and that's a good thing. There was a whole lot of clapping of The Stroke by Billy Squier, I'll say that much. Unbelievable play in center field here by Hunter Ensley, who left an eye black mark from his face on the wall for the rest of the tournament. Kavares Tears is a unit in the box. And then, nothing happened for a bit. Literally nothing. You want to know why? The home plate umpire got hurt and couldn't umpire. So we had a lengthy delay of standing around doing nothing on the field while we prepped a new home plate umpire. As you typically see happen in most baseball games, I'm sure that's a very common occurrence. Tennessee pulls out the win though, in a game that at least reared its head back into the what in the world is going on emotional spectrum again. The next day, Florida and NC State are in a 5-4 game with UF on top in the bottom of the 7th when the Wolfpack draw a leadoff walk. Florida calls on its ace reliever Brandon Neely, and he goes 3 shutout innings with 6 strikeouts to keep UF alive. We then hit a stretch of just regular, fairly uneventful baseball. A&M beats Kentucky 5-1, FSU knocks off UNC to set up a rematch with Tennessee that they'd eventually lose fair and square this time. got a feel for them in this tournament, though. I can't even imagine what it's like being a fan of a team that loses this game. I'm a New York Mets fan saying that, by the way. Florida then absolutely tattoos Kentucky 15-4 to knock them out of the tournament and set up a rematch of their own with A&M, who'd make quick work of them. So we have two undefeated teams left, Tennessee and Texas A&M. Tennessee hasn't had a team sport win a championship since 2009, when the women's indoor track and field team won a national title. The baseball program has never won. Texas A&M has not had a major men's team sport win a title since 1939. We hadn't invented kitty litter yet when the Texas A&M Aggies brought home a major men's sports championship, and having never done so in baseball either. So we are guaranteed a first-time champion at a school where it would do wonders for the athletic department there. And everyone in the surrounding town, the campus community, the students. Point is, this is a big championship to win here. Tennessee hasn't even been to the College World Series final since 1951, when there was an NFL team called the New York Yanks. Yeah, the New York Yanks in the NFL. A&M has never been to the final here either, for what it's worth. Plenty to play for, which is just fantastic stakes. So, watch how the first batter of Game 1 rises to the occasion.
And Rahovac sends this one to right. That sends Chapman back. He's still going back. How about a leadoff home run?
This first game is all A&M. They're in the driver's seat for the entire game, having the lead balloon all the way to 9-2 when Caden Kent, son of legendary MLB second baseman Jeff Kent, slugs a home run. Want to know something crazy about this? Caden Kent really shouldn't even be playing here. Texas A&M has been dominant thus far in the College World Series, and they've done it without arguably their best player. Braden Montgomery will be one of the first few players to hear his name called in the upcoming MLB draft. He's also out for the season. That opened up playing time for Caden Kent, who has looked special since getting the opportunity to play more. A&M withstands two late-inning home runs by Tennessee to win 9-5, one victory away from that elusive national title. I think my favorite thing about Game 2, just bouncing off one of the previous notes we left off on, is that Caden Kent got picked off on the base paths in the bottom of the third inning, and a newspaper published a whole article basically about how his dad was disappointed in him for that. Slow news day, huh? Wait, did bro just hit the... A&M was up 1-0 at this time, thanks to a Laviolette home run. You'll also see him go very highly in the 2025 MLB draft. He's still just a sophomore. But the further this game went along, something became more and more noticeable. Tennessee's offense, maybe the most prolific home run offense in college history, hadn't scored yet. In plenty of chances, they just weren't cashing in. We're now in the 7th inning, it's still a 1-0 game, and they look to be doing it again. Christian Moore worked a 7-pitch walk before the next two Vol hitters fly out. With time starting to run out, Dylan Dreiling comes up to the plate.
That ball is hammered, and that may end the zero. It is gone!
Bang! There it is. Same kid who walked off FSU, if you didn't notice that. The Tennessee Volunteers finally break through. 7 outs away from their season ending. 1 inning later, catcher Cal Stark, no relation to us over here at Stark Raving Sports, gives Tennessee some insurance. Tennessee wins. Winner take all Game 3 tomorrow. Also, shout out to Tennessee pitchers Kirby Connell for being the most stereotypical 1970s to 90s relief pitcher looking guy ever. I mean that as a compliment, Kirby. Please never shave for the rest of your life. And Aaron Combs for throwing 4 shutout innings of relief, keeping Tennessee in the game. Winner take all tomorrow. And guess what, fellas? We are doing this at 101 degree heat at first pitch. The city of Omaha issued an excessive heat warning before this game for a time period that will basically run through the entirety of the game. The feels like on this game is gonna clock in at 110 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know how I'd be able to get out of bed on a day like that, let alone play 9 innings of do-or-die championship baseball in the biggest game of these kids' lives. But these teams are gonna do it. They're better than me, that's for sure. And Tennessee is gonna wear black. in feels like 110. I can't wrap my head around that one. This is, certainly a choice. This tournament cannot be normal. It is so wild out here. And I want to disclose something. If it sounds like I really enjoy Tennessee from behind the mic, I do. They're a fun team. Their coach is great representation for fellow Italian Americans in baseball, and he's really funny.
We've got a few bats that somehow conveniently the stickers have come off, so I don't know, but I don't even know that Jordan Beck should be at University of Tennessee. Forged his transcript, and it's actually a 35-year-old man named Mike Concho.
Peyton Manning is here on their side. You know, the Omaha guy. Omaha! So whether you like it or not, this is a team that feels like the team of destiny, and that is very easy to get behind. Alright, so Christian Moore comes to the plate to open up game number 3 for Tennessee.
That ball is pulled down the line, and it is out of here! What a start for the Bulls!
This dude is so good at baseball, I don't know what else to say. A&M fights back and scores the tying run in the third, because a team this good isn't going down that easy. But the number 1 team in the country has the same traits. They showed it yesterday. They do it again in their first chance back at the plate after losing the lead. And when they need some room to breathe, Dylan Dreiling does it again. Kavares Tears also does it again. And look at this slide from Hunter Ensley to avoid the tag. Are you kidding me? Unless you're Jonathan VR or Mr. Fantastic, you do not score on this play. When you have the mojo of rolling your way to a national championship, you catch breaks like this. It is 6-1 Tennessee entering the top of the 8th. You can start counting down outs now. It is their night. It is their year. Why is A&M clawing back? They're even stealing the thunder of this amazing play by a freshman defensive replacement shortstop. They're getting all the breaks right now. Also, fun fact, this is a photo of me, Wojak facing, at that same shortstop eating Chick-fil-A during D-Sarm's home run derby. Ariel, if you're watching this, I love ya. I know just the man Tennessee needs to save their night and their season with 1 out in the 8th. A&M's making this a game again. Bring out the GOAT relief pitcher guy.
1 and 2. Tyre got him swinging and looking. The reaction from Kirby Connell on the Volunteers bench.
Hell yeah. 3 outs to go. Wait, is that Aaron Combs? The same Aaron Combs who pitched 4 innings of relief yesterday, out to get the last 3 outs? He's gonna go out there on 0 days rest after a very lengthy relief outing? That's kind of insane, but let's ride it. A leadoff double brings Laviolette back up to the plate in the 9th. On a 3-2 count, Combs gets him to chase on a fastball above the zone that would have definitely been ball 4. 1 out. I get it though. When you're as good as Jace is, I'd be hacking if I saw fastball too. I'm not as good though, and I faced the D1 pitching to prove it. A wild pitch and a single bring home number 4 for A&M. Tying run at the plate for the Aggies. Combs gets his second strikeout for out number 2. 1 out to go. The runner from first takes off for second base. Tennessee just lets him do it. They're just focused on getting the batter out at the plate. That runner on second base means nothing if you just get the hitter out. In fact, Combs is so concentrated on the hitter that he has no idea the runner moved to second base. So he tries to pick him off at first base. That is a balk, because he tried to pick off a guy who wasn't even over there. Runner goes to third base. Combs laughs it off right away, and I love him for that. He has to get the most pressure-filled out of his life, and he's cracking up at his screw-up I've never seen anyone have before, at any level of baseball. 2 strikes now on the batter. Combs is gonna throw a fastball as hard as he possibly can to try and strike him out. So hard, in fact, that he airmails it to the backstop and the runner on third scores. Because this College World Series cannot have anything normal happen for any reason. This is weird baseball. and we're right in the thick of its apex. But someone has to win this thing. For as much as I'd love the insanity to keep going on, and this sport to keep finding new and unique ways to one-up itself in being one of the most chaotic, nonsense-inducing things in our world, it might as well end right here, right now.
The pitch. Swing and a miss! That's the ball game! How about that? The climb is complete! The Volunteers are the very best in college baseball!
Tennessee has won the 2024 College World Series for their first title in program history. And they're so thrilled for it. Their coach runs into the crowd to celebrate with fans and curses on live TV just to remind you this is a crazy week we've been in.
Holy shit, I'm on the I don't really know what happened the last pitch.
And to top all that off, he's eating ice off the ground. I love college baseball so much, you have no idea. If you're able to watch a College World Series, or just good college baseball in your life, do it. Better yet, if you're able to go, do it. You're gonna see something you've never seen before.
Who on the team would you not let date your daughter?
Oh, there's plenty.